Again, I apologize for the background, but I got some cool stuff that I'm gonna be hanging up. What's up, fans? Actually, what's up, football fans? Because this video, technically I'm gonna run around the NFL and talk about the quarterback situations with each team that have somewhat of a quarterback situation. Again, I got a lot of blank stuff behind me, but I got stuff I'm gonna hang up for you guys. I got this, I got the newspaper clipping from when the Dolphins won the division. I also got this kick-ass thing. So I got a ton of stuff that's gonna hang up behind me. Again, trust me, it's gonna look badass. This video is going to be, I'm gonna talk about, there's certain teams that are dealing with somewhat of a quarterback situation. Now the Dolphins, I'm gonna talk about that team last because obviously we're talking about quarterback situations, but there's more teams in the NFL that are kind of hinting or talking about quarterback situations that you'd be surprised about. But again, before I jump into that, I apologize for the echo. I have to soundproof this room. It's a big room, so I gotta put like the soundproofing in. And I just wanna touch base on something. A lot of people, especially with last week's video, have talked about, Brian Flores. He's gonna be gone in 2 years, this and that. He's the only new coach that signed a 5-year fully guaranteed contract. So if that is the case, that the Dolphins, only committed him as a stopgap because they're tanking, or give him 3 years and that's it, they're gonna have to pay him for about 2 years, which is a lot of money. So I don't see that happening, but again, I'm the type of person that I'd like to be pleasantly surprised and let down. So I'm keeping my expectations on him very level. I know a lot of people in my last video were like, don't put the cart before the horse and all this stuff. I understand that. I'm just telling you from his press conference the stuff I like. But let's get into the quarterback situation around the NFL. And I'm gonna start with the Oakland Raiders. Now, today, I don't know, nothing has happened as me recording this, but as of today, if Derek Carr doesn't get cut, his contract becomes fully guaranteed. And it doesn't seem like Derek Carr is going to get cut, which means that the Oakland Raiders are going to be essentially sticking with Derek Carr. Now, that kind of a lot of people, especially myself, when it came to the offseason and when it came to free agency, thought Derek Carr was going to be an option for the Dolphins, for any quarterback needy team. But the fact that today his contract becomes fully guaranteed, and it doesn't seem like the Raiders are going to be cutting him today, means the Raiders are going to stick with Derek Carr, and that is another team that doesn't need a quarterback that's going to be drafting pretty high. Next, I want to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Andy Dalton isn't a bad quarterback. He's the Ryan Tannehill of the Bengals. He will get you where you need to be, but he won't win. He won't win you the playoff game, and he won't get you to the Super Bowl, but he'll win you certain games. His contract essentially for this year and next year, if he gets cut, doesn't affect the Bengals at all. Now, will the Bengals cut him? Will their new head coach, who used to be the Dolphins quarterback coach when Ryan Tannehill got drafted, cut him? I don't see that happening. Just because you want to have that veteran on the team. He's costing them about $16 million this year, $17 million next year. So it's not a hefty cap hit for a starting caliber quarterback. So the Bengals situation, I see Andy Dalton staying, but don't be surprised if they draft a quarterback. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting a new quarterback, whether it be with that 7th overall pick, or whether it be in free agency, or whether it be both. The Jacksonville Jaguars need to get themselves a quarterback, and the Jacksonville Jaguars need to set that situation up for them. I honestly think that was the one thing that held them back, especially with this season, because they did really well the season before. And again, if they had a good quarterback, they possibly would have beat the Patriots and went to the Super Bowl. But that's that situation. Now, a lot of people think, and even I'm one of them, that Nick Foles is going to go to Jags and play for the Jacksonville Jaguars because his quarterback coach is now with the Jaguars. I'm going to use that to transition. I'm just going to try to break it down division by division, but I'm going to use that to break down the Eagles situation. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles picked up Nick Foles' option. Nick Foles has something in his contract that he can opt out or decline the option. And he did that. So essentially the Eagles picked up his option, and then he was like, nah, I want to test free agency. Thank you for everything, but I'm not going to be sitting behind Carson Wentz for another year, because that's what's going to happen. You have to think with the Eagles situation, Carson Wentz has been injured the past 2 seasons. He's another player. There's someone else on this list I'm going to talk about that can't stay healthy. Now, Foles already said he doesn't want to stay with the Eagles because he opted out of the option that they picked up on him. Eagle fans need to think, you know, is there another quarterback that we can get? God forbid Wentz gets hurt again. But as of right now, they're with Wentz, and Nick Foles said no to the option. The next team I want to talk about is another quarterback that can't stay healthy, and that's Marcus Mariota with the Tennessee Titans. He hasn't played a full season, I think, since he came into the NFL. Now, he's a good quarterback. When he's healthy, when he's in there, when he's playing, he'll win you games. He won them playoff games. He rolls out, he makes the blocks for the running back. He's a great quarterback. The problem with him is he can't stay healthy. So with the Titans organization, they need to think, okay, we're going to keep Marcus Mariota because he's not costing much. He's still on his rookie contract, but we need to have an insurance clause, because if he gets injured, they don't want to keep having to go to their backup, who potentially loses them some games. If they had a better backup than Marcus Mariota when they played the Dolphins in week 1, they might have won that game, but you had to put someone in that isn't as good as Mariota. So the quarterback situation with the Titans is, you know, you got Mariota, but you need to think about some better backups for him. Then you got the quarterback situation with the Denver Broncos with Case Keenum, who, you know, they went 6-10. At one point, they still had a chance to make the playoffs. At one point, they did get very hot, but he threw 18 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. It's just, that's not a good ratio. So with the Denver Broncos, especially with John Elway, he is going to want to pick up a quarterback. The Denver Broncos pick at 10. And like I told you, there's some teams before them seem like they need a quarterback, but they're not going to go after a quarterback. One of them being the Oakland Raiders, the New York Jets, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll talk about them in 2 seconds. There's quarterback needy teams that you think are quarterback needy, but then in actuality, the more the offseason plays out, you notice that they're not. Like I just said with the Raiders, keeping Derek Carr's option and not cutting him so his contract becomes fully guaranteed. I'm going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So good quarterbacks in this draft, or top quarterbacks in this draft, will start to fall to the 10s and to out of the 5-8s, you know, top 5 tight 8. So the Denver Broncos have an option to pick up a top quarterback. Now, they still have Case Keenum. They could keep Case Keenum, but Case Keenum's not going to win them games. So with the Denver Broncos, I honestly think they're going to be drafting a quarterback in this draft in the early, with their first pick at number 10, if they don't try to trade up. If they don't try to trade up, if all of a sudden quarterbacks start coming off the board. Then you got the Redskins. Alex Smith, Joe Theismann himself. Well, he didn't do it to himself, but he got injured just like Joe Theismann. He's not playing 2019. Will he play again? I don't know, but the Redskins need a quarterback. Now, a lot of people think that the Redskins could be a landing spot if the Dolphins try to trade Ryan Tannehill. And a lot of people, especially you guys, think that there's no way that the Dolphins are going to be able to trade Ryan Tannehill. Why would anyone want to trade Ryan Tannehill, or trade for Ryan Tannehill? And I'll talk about that when I talk about the Dolphins quarterback situation. But the Redskins desperately need a quarterback. They have Josh Johnson, they have Colt McCoy, Mark Sanchez at one point. They desperately need to go to quarterback, whether it's in free agency or whether it's in the draft or both. Now you have the Giants, New York Giants. Now, what I'm hearing is they're going to stick with Eli for this last year, and then he'll probably retire. But you need to get that, you know, successor to Eli. Now, they tried to do it last year with the quarterback they drafted in the 2nd round, but then he goes and gets a DUI, and he's got himself in trouble now. Giant fans, if you're watching this video, comment below. Let me know what that situation's going on with that quarterback. If he's still going to be with the team, if they're going to do any punishment, NFL-wise, suspension-wise. If the team is just going to be like, we're just going to let this guy go because this isn't who we wanted to draft. Giants definitely need to think quarterback situation. Now, they could stick with Eli for 2019 and then 2020 with the better quarterback draft, get their quarterback then. I'm hearing a lot of that's what they're planning on doing, especially from from Giant YouTubers, that they're going to stick with Eli for 2019, potentially get a quarterback in the 2nd round, maybe 3rd round, and then 2020 get that quarterback in the first round, which doesn't seem like a bad idea. There are maybe 2 or 3 first-round candidates this year at quarterback, but 2020 seems to be the year to draft a quarterback. Then you have Detroit with Stafford. He's been with Detroit forever. Matt Patricia might stick with him just because he's got the veteran and he, can grow and he has that leadership. But I honestly think that the Lions are in the same scenario as the Dolphins, that they know what they have in Stafford. Stafford did get him to the playoffs, but Stafford can only get you so far. So I honestly could see the Lions keeping Stafford. I'm not saying trade him or cut him, but they need to start to think quarterback situation with the Lions. Then you got Tampa Bay. Now, Jameis Winston, a lot of people were like, they're done with him. All last season, it was Fitz, Winston, Fitz, Winston, Fitz, Winston, back and forth, back and forth. Bruce Arians is now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' new head coach, and he's already publicly come out and said he likes Jameis Winston. He's going to build the team around Jameis Winston. He's going to bring in coaches to make Jameis Winston better. He thinks Jameis Winston can be a winning quarterback. So a lot of people thought that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a team that all of a sudden, they need a new quarterback, and then all of a sudden Bruce Arians comes in and completely throws that idea on its head. So with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, they're not doing anything quarterback-wise. Maybe they'll draft a quarterback late to be a backup, or sign a quarterback late to be a backup. Maybe they'll keep Fitz. Maybe they'll get somebody else. But the one team, we thought Tampa was going quarterback. When Bruce Arians got in there and said, we're going to stay with Winston. I'm going to bring these coaches to help out Winston. Then you got the Saints. Now, the Saints have Drew Brees. Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Now, the only reason I bring up the Saints is because how much longer is Drew Brees going to play? Should they get their backup? Should they focus on getting that backup? Are they going to do it in 2020? Are they going to do it this year and move up and get the backup? Or are they going to do it in free agency? Are they going to keep Teddy Bridgewater and then have him be the backup and eventually the successor to Drew Brees? But the Saints now need to start thinking about a successor for Drew Brees because he's not getting younger. And a lot of people are already speculating, when is his last year? Or when is he going to stop playing? So with the Saints, that quarterback situation, it's up in the air. You got him for one more year. I don't think he's retiring this year, but then after this year, you got to think, what is the Saints going to do? Then you got the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo with his torn ACL. That's another scenario with the injury, kind of like Alex Smith, but not as severe as Alex Smith, that you need to have that backup. Now, they had the backup that did pretty well. Would they keep him and just hope that he can continue off his somewhat success? Because again, he faltered the more playing happened and the more people started seeing game tape on. So with the 49ers, you have to worry about that knee injury like the Dolphins did. Could it happen again? Is going to hinder him and his playing style. So with the 49ers, they have Garoppolo. It doesn't seem like a need. They're another team that late round quarterbacks, signing free agents, but as backups. So that's what I could see the 49ers doing. Then you have the Cardinals, who are picking number 1. A lot of people think, Kyler Murray came out of the draft. Are they going to take him and trade Josh Rosen? No, because like I said, Kyler Murray is a flip-floppy, so he's probably not going to, do anything. So I honestly think the Cards are going to stick with Josh Rosen. I don't think they're going to do anything quarterback-wise with that first pick. I honestly think they're going to stick with Josh Rosen. Talk about the Patriots real quick. Patriots, Tom Brady. Is he going to retire? Is he not going to retire? Patriots love getting a quarterback, and then they have him as a backup. He plays great, then they trade him because they like Tom Brady. They're going to stick with Tom Brady. Will Tom Brady retire? I don't know. I honestly think he should retire. I think he should retire either this year or next year. It's not going to happen this year because he would announce it already. He's not going to put his team in turmoil when it comes to getting a quarterback. Same thing with Bill Belichick. Coach is already hired. I don't think he's going to retire this year, but with the Patriots, that whole scenario is just an enigma in itself. But let's get to the crux of it. Miami Dolphins quarterback situation. Ryan Tannehill, he's not going to be on the team anymore. A lot of people want him to be on the team. A lot of people don't want him to be on the team. I personally don't want him to be on the team anymore, not because I think he's bad, not because I think anything negative about him, just because it's been 7 years. We know what we have with Ryan Tannehill after 7 years. Honestly, don't think he can succeed anymore. You would literally need to have a perfect offensive line, a perfect defense, perfect wide receivers for him to succeed. And then you'd have to have the tight end that can get open, that can do the things for him to succeed. And the Dolphins aren't going to have that this year. The Dolphins might not even have that next year. So to keep Ryan Tannehill is unfair to him and it's unfair to the Dolphins. So honestly, Ryan Tannehill is going to be traded. I honestly think he's going to be traded. A lot of people scoff and laugh at me for saying that I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be traded. Don't be surprised if he gets traded for a fifth. I would be happy with him getting traded for a fifth. We get something back for him, but I honestly think he'll be traded. If not, he will be cut. So that is the video. Let me know if you're a fan of the team that I talked about, your quarterback situation. If you disagree with what I have to say, please let me know. You know more about the team than I do. So comment below and let me get to one of your guys' comments of the day. Clark's Bleach says, I saw Xavier Howard tweet where he congratulated Brian Flores and said, let's get to work. Looks like Xavier Howard wants to stay. Hopefully Brian keeps him. Now, the whole Xavier Howard situation is another situation where we have two different sections of Dolphin fans that want to keep Xavier Howard and want to trade Xavier Howard and get the most for him right now. I'm the side of keeping Xavier Howard. I'm going to be making a video talking about positions of needs with this Dolphin team this weekend. It'll probably come out either Friday or Saturday. But a lot of players like Brian Flores so far, and a lot of players are ready to go to work for Brian Flores. And I think it's because, especially on defense, especially with Xavier Howard, who I honestly think the Dolphins are going to keep. I honestly think he's going to stay with the team because he can see what Brian Flores can do. He's seen the Super Bowl. He's seen the playoff tape. He could see what Brian Flores can do with his corners, blitzing, all that stuff. So I honestly think a lot of players that potentially are going to be traded or want to leave, as being reported, aren't going to leave because of Brian Flores. Thank you for the comment. Be sure, like I said, always to comment below. I love interacting with you guys, even if you're not a Dolphin fan, you're a Patriots fan, you're a Bills fan, you're a Raiders fan, Chiefs fan, whatever. Comment below. I like interacting with you. Again, behind me is gonna look so much better. I even got this, which is a Dolphins Lego helmet that I'm slowly putting together with 1,000 pieces. So behind me is gonna look better, but be sure to follow me on Twitter. As soon as news comes out, I tweet it. A lot of you guys have been following me on Twitter. I'm almost close to breaking 400 followers. So I really appreciate it, you guys. I also have a lot of conversations with you guys. You guys ask me questions on Twitter about what I feel about certain things, and you also send me articles. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. Be sure to go over and check out the Bit Boys. We've been playing Resident Evil. That's gonna be coming out tomorrow. We're gonna be playing Kingdom Hearts. We have a ton of games we're gonna be playing, so be sure to go over and check out the Bit Boys. Give this video a thumbs up because you like these types of videos where I not only break it down for the Dolphins, but I'm breaking it down for everyone so you can get a feel of what the Dolphins are in situation-wise, quarterbacks, drafts, free agency, see who we have to compete against. Be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I got a ton of stuff planned for you guys. I got a ton of stuff planned for behind me. So be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys probably Saturday. So like usual, stay classy, fins up.